Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Zoe,
And Mark.
and we are the Board Adventurers. So for today, we're going to be doing another fresh off the shelf, and we're going to be reviewing the auction game Skyrise. Now, Skyrise is designed by Adam Wise, Gavin Brown, and Sebastian Pauchin, and published by Roxley Games. Apologies if I mispronounced the names, by the way. So, Skyrise is an auction game in which 1 to 4 players or 2 to 4 players is going to be auctioning to build out a city in this steampunk sort of world in the sky. Right? So, the way it works, each player is going to pick a color and they're going to get a set of buildings. Now, on the buildings, you're going to see that on the top of them, there's going to be a number. It's anywhere from, I believe, like 1 to over 100, about like 150. But anyway, so there's going to be a set of numbers. They're going to be separated into 2 piles. One set of numbers is going to have no dot at the bottom, and the other set is going to have a dot at the bottom. That tells you which era those buildings can be played in. The ones with the dot is played only in the second era, while the ones with no dot is able to be played in the first and second era. The game, as mentioned before, is broken out into 2 eras, and after that, the game is done. Now, you'll notice that your buildings that has the numbers on end and or either a dot is going to be separated into 3 different types of sizes. There's going to be small buildings, medium buildings, and large buildings. That's important specifically for the scoring, as I'll go over later. And you're going to have a player board. Player board is going to look like this. You're going to have a character. There's going to be an illustration there. That's your illustration here. That's where some of the things you collect throughout the game are going to go. To the right of that illustration, you're going to see 4 rows. Those are where the resources you collect throughout the game are going to be placed. And as you will notice here at the top of the rows, you're going to have numbers here that signifies the points that those specific goods are worth as you collect them and put them on your board. Once those are filled up, for every additional one that you collect, they go on your illustration to the left, and those are additional 10 points each. The way the arc of the game is, it's an auction game. So the first player in the game is going to put out their building from their Era 1 slots. They can only place it in the beginning of the game in the middle of the board, which is going to have 4 different colors and some resources on top of each of those locations as well. So you're going to put your building that you're starting off with anywhere on the middle of the board. The next player is going to bid. If they want to be out there, they have to place something higher than the number that was just placed, but it has to be adjacent to the building that was just played, and it's going to keep bidding until everyone passes. The winner of that bid in that specific round is going to turn over the winning building, and everyone else, including the person that won, collects the buildings that were outbid. And the next round, the next person that bids is going to start their auction off by placing their building next to an existing building. So as more buildings go out and as the rounds progresses, you can choose where you want to start the round based off of what buildings are out there. And when you win a location, you flip over your building and you collect the resources. Now, that resources can be a number of things. It can be one of the 4 resources that you get, which is brown, white, green, or beige, and put those in the slots on your player board. Or it can be a wild, it could be a multiplier, it can be a token that shows what the value of the hidden tokens that's on the board. And all that's going to go on your illustration, right? Now, Era 1 ends when one player places all of their Era 1 buildings. You pause the game, and you score based off the error 1 score mechanics. And then the start of error 2, everyone gets their wonders. Now the wonders are a little different from the buildings itself. They don't have a number at the bottom of them, but the wonders they do come with a card. Now that card is extra. That's bonus scoring mechanics for the wonders. So the wonders is automatic. When you call out that you're going to place a wonder, it's an automatic win for that specific auction. You place that wonder building on the board where you won, and you automatically score based off of the wonder card that you have. And you would need to have what is required to score based off the wonder card. But yeah, you score based off the wonder card immediately, and then you continue going with each auction. Now the error 2 round ends when every player places out all of their buildings. The game ends, and you score based off of the resources that you collected, the resources on your illustration board, how they work with the buildings and wonders that you have out on the board, the colors of the locations that you've won with your buildings and wonders, and you tally up your points, and the winner of the game is the person who has the most points. That is a basic overview of Skyrise. What are your thoughts?
Skyrise is a pretty good game. I enjoy auction games for the most part. Auction games that have simple mechanics, ones that implement the auction in terms of the gameplay.
Yeah.
Like the auction is the main point of the gameplay, but it really comes down to this game is more of a set collection game where an auction is used to get those pieces.
Yeah.
One thing I really do enjoy about this game is that whenever you're playing the board, whenever you're betting, you're trying to determine, do I need the color or do I need the token that's on the space?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest little thoughts you have to put into this game. Because one thing to note about the board is that there's a scale when it comes to point system. I believe it's 2, 4, 6. Then when you get your 4th token, it goes back down to 4. But every subsequent token of that same color is added, I believe, 10.
Yeah.
That adds onto it. So you have to make that choice of how late in the game am I getting the certain color. If I already have 3, say in my 3rd turn, I should try to get most of this color because that'll scale me 10 points.
Yeah.
But if it's later in the game and I'm okay, I just got my 3rd one. If I get my 4th one, my points per region actually go further down.
Yeah.
And what those little pieces on the board score is per location you control with that color.
Yeah.
So not only do you need the token to have the multiplier, but you need to have the location. And that's where the beauty of this game comes in, because it's do I prioritize the token? Do I prioritize the area? And it's quite good in what it does there.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about it?
I enjoy Skyrise. I really like the auction mechanics of this game. It's really board gamey. It's more board gamey than a lot of auction games like QE or for sale games of that ilk, where you're really placing out buildings and trying to win locations. So it's kind of cool how that works. I love the theme of the game. I love the steampunk theme. It's really cool. There's not a lot of games with that theme. So I was really excited that there's a good game with a steampunk theme to it. Though it really goes heavy in the theme without it actually doing anything mechanically with it. But I still appreciate it nonetheless. Right. The score mechanic is interesting. Like you mentioned before, when you get past the resources with the 4 columns and you start adding it to your illustration and it's plus 10, that's really cool. Yeah. I do like the idea of, do I want the location or do I want the token that comes with it? It makes the auctioning aspect of the game really interesting, because there's not going to be a lot of spaces that has both that you need.
Right.
And you don't want to overbid to guarantee that you win it, because then you're showing your hand.
Yes.
but you still want to make sure you get it because there's not that combination doesn't happen so much. Usually you're choosing the space or the token.
Right.
So that's really cool, and I really enjoy that aspect of it.
Yeah. One thing too is that not only are there tokens of the colors, there's like at the very top of the board, there's these A, B, C, and D tiles.
Yeah.
And they give you varying amounts of victory points.
Yeah, that's
to the
cool
point
too.
where they're actually quite skewed.
Yeah.
That first game we played, so of A, B, C, and D, you can get 3, 4, 5, or 8 victory points.
Yeah.
And so when you get one letter, when you control a location and you put your building on it, you get to have the letter. You get to look what's under it, and then you get to put it back. If you start to go for that one letter, it just feels like everyone's going to go for that one letter.
Yeah, everyone knows that's the 8 I need to go for.
Yeah, so the first game that we played, I believe I won because I ended up with 3 of the 8s for that. I was like, and I didn't know the varying nature. I thought 8 was actually one of the lower ones in there. I was like, there's got to be a 10 in here somewhere. So I went for other ones, and I think that's what caused people to pick other ones up.
Yeah, you know what's funny? Noticed that a couple times with the playthroughs is like going for that letter really signifies that's a high number. Everyone's going for it. Everyone's outbidding. I'm almost tempted to in one game.
Yeah.
Just to if I get a 3. Go for the letter again immediately.
And then see who picks it
and
up.
Make other people go for it.
Right.
Might be a waste of a turn because I'm assuming that person's gonna be like, "What the?"
And then but that's a strategy, right?
Yeah,
you might be wanting They might use up one of their larger numbers, which you want them to do, to place it. And this is something that like I don't like in other games, but I do enjoy in this one. Is that even if someone's finished all of their buildings at the end of the game, you still get to place your buildings.
Everyone places, yeah.
So you don't want to give someone their 3 buildings at the end of the game because then they have free reign to just place wherever they want.
Yeah.
And just pick up tiles as they want.
It's cool. I like that's a good thought there too. In terms of how the game works.
Yeah, because I'm a late gamer myself. I hate it when people just end the game prematurely.
Yeah.
And it's like I had 3 other things I could do. But this game, it kind of gives you that you finish yours, but we get equal amounts of stuff to play. So I get to place my 3 buildings, and I get to pick optimally what I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also that thing where if you end you could try to trap someone in a location where they would have to take one piece, and then when you say you get it on your turn, you can put it on a location where it's island. It's like an island, and you immediately win that. So there's a way to use your lower pieces to get something you might want. And
forgot to mention as well early in the rule set for this, the large, medium, and small buildings are important because some of the scoring mechanic for end of era 1 and end of era 2 is one of it is based off of control of an island. The person who has the most large buildings in that island wins that island. There's only 5 islands in the game. That's at a full player count, by the way. There's only 5 islands. So it's important to win as many islands as you can. But as Mark mentioned before, you can manipulate how people play out the buildings to make sure that they don't win specific islands or to ensure that you win an island. So there's a lot of gamemanship a little bit in terms of getting people to play certain things, which is cool. I like that aspect of it. It seems like for me, this is a game with more player counts, and if you're playing with similar people, you can really game other people, and that's probably I can see that's really where the fun of the game is. Yeah,
this game scales pretty well too because. The way this game is set up is every one of these island pieces are set up 1 for each player.
Yeah.
So if there's only 2 players, you only set up 2 of those little pieces, and then a third and a fourth. If you could set up the whole map if you have 4 players.
Yeah.
And it kind of balances out because now you're adding in all these different areas that you could go into.
Which I really enjoy because usually with auction bidding game is not good at 2 players. This is good at 2 players because it scales based off of the player count. And the game isn't fully just auction. Auction is just what you pick up. Yeah. It's really a set collection game, as you mentioned before.
I will say, though, one thing I kind of wish this game did more, though, is the starting conditions. It feels like those starting objective cards are simple. It's like, you need to get this one color. It gives me, Lords of Waterdeep vibes. It's like, you need this certain type
Yeah.
of area you need to control,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone else, in a sense, has the other colors.
Yeah.
So I wish there was some sort of variety, as opposed to maybe it's not you're getting the region, but if it's like for each certain token you get or a
Mm-hmm.
set of tokens, you get a certain amount of victory points.
Yeah.
I like some sort of variance in that. And then the same thing with the player boards is I don't believe they come with a specific ability, right?
No, no.
It
It's
doesn't
just,
really matter
yeah,
which side you
you
pick. It's more of like an aesthetic.
yeah.
Yeah.
The only difference between the player boards at all is that they come with different numbered buildings.
Oh, really?
Between the two, like the colors come with different color
Oh, but like
buildings.
on each side is the same.
But
The same
on
number.
each side, like I'll use this Antonio Santella as an example.
Yeah.
He's different from this lady here because they have different building numbers.
Yeah.
But there's additional characters on the back. There's no difference between Antonio and Mario. It's no difference at all.
Yeah,
And I
I-
really wish they would add it in some.
Like it's player ability. Like
Yeah,
to me,
player-
like I like asymmetry in games, and there was something that I wish could have just been added to it.
They could have, and obviously I'm not a designer.
Yeah.
You know, but they could have added some asymmetry in terms of the wonders that you can get. Where Antonio has specific wonders that he can utilize that Mario can't from other characters. So when you
Yeah.
choose the wonders, you're choosing that character for that the specific wonders you're able to get.
Yeah.
And it would have been more thematic with what the flavor text of those specific characters. I enjoy the flavor text,
Yeah.
but it doesn't really align with.
Yeah, it would have been
mechanics
cool
of
if
the
like
game.
the wonder. So like whenever in the second round when you pick your wonder, right, and you pick a wonder card,
Yeah.
that determines your initiative, right?
Yeah,
I wish there was like if that had been built into the player characters, like say like for Mario, it doesn't matter what initiative number he has, he always goes first. You know, that's just something just small enough where it's like, okay, well now I'm willing to go into a higher numbered wonder effect.
Yeah.
As long as my character still has this ability.
yeah,
And then or something else that kind of builds it where it's like, oh, I feel like my character actually means something.
yeah. And I don't think we're gamers in that we need all of our games to be asymmetrical.
Yeah, that's a
It's
fair
just
point.
that this game, it really is missing that. It feels
Yeah.
like it's like right there, and it will really take it over the
Yeah,
over
like
the hump for me.
I would be like I like it, but I just wish there was that little oomph to take it from just a normal set collection auction game
Yeah.
to something just a little bit more than that.
And it could easily rectified. I'm sure this game is getting really positive reviews, and people seem to like it. I can see them adding in an expansion that makes this game asymmetrical. It just feels like it's right there to be.
Yeah, it'll probably be like a
asymmetry.
deck of cards or like something that gives your person a specific ability or
I
something.
think so. It really needs that. But outside of that, those are like small cons and still
Yeah.
enjoy the game. But it's just really missing that umph to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
But in terms of a review score, where does this rate for you?
Like I think this is like one of those games where it would fit into like light to medium weight, right? And it's like if you like auction games and you want something that's not as crunchy, like nothing as brain burning as you need to, this would fit that bill, I think. I do wish there was a little bit more like abilities added in that made it feel a little less light,
Yeah.
like a little bit heavier for my taste. But I'm coming in at 3.5. Again, this is out of 5. This is a pretty decent game. I would introduce this to people, see if they like it. This wouldn't be my go-to auction game at the moment,
Yeah.
but it is a solid game, and I would definitely tell people to at least try it out before like go into other auction games. What about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna come in at a 4.
4.
Yeah, I like the game. I think it works for people who like auction games, and auction games are usually fairly light, and wants a little bit more weight to it, but not too heavy. But something a little bit more gamery than like a card game or just a basic set collection. I think this works for those people. I think it's a beautiful looking game. I think the theme is really cool. The theme really adds to it. like you mentioned before, and we said during the review, the game is really, really missing something to take it over the hump for me. And I think it is that asymmetrical feeling
Yeah.
that it really is inviting.
Just so you guys know, we also have the deluxe version from Kickstarter, right?
Yeah.
So this isn't the undeluxed version, right?
Yeah, it isn't
So
the-
it
this
has
is
like
basic
it has
version,
like those like thick pieces
Yeah.
that you show, which looks great on the board.
Oh, the deluxe version of this game is probably one of my favorite deluxe board games that I've
yeah,
gotten.
and it feels functional.
Yeah, it's not overly complicated deluxe, but it still is very unique looking, and it's still a very beautiful deluxe version of the game. But the game itself is beautiful as well. The art I really enjoy. The flavor text is awesome. If you want to sit down and read all of the additional flavor text to the game, I think the game is a really good auction game. That's just missing something.
Yeah.
I like it a lot, which is why I'm giving it a 4. Just not enough to like take it over that edge. That's where I'm at with it.
Nice. All right, that is our fresh off the shelf for the game Skyrise. Let us know if you guys played it. Let us know in the comments if you like it, if you don't like it, if you like other auction games. That's pretty cool too. We are the Board Adventurers. I'm Mark.
I'm Zoe.
We'll see you on the next adventure.